Hello, everyone. Welcome back to 30 Days of Yin Yoga. Today's theme is centered around flexibility and moving in and with our body. So go ahead and feel free to grab 2 blocks and a bolster or a pillow or something similar. And we're going to get started standing today and dangling. So go ahead and grab your blocks and come to stand and just immediately hinge over in your chest. Play around with the height of your blocks, maybe around the lowest height, medium, highest height, just somewhere where you can find support for your hands and that slight micro bend in your knees. So try not to lock your legs out here. This is where we'll begin today. We're starting standing today, but we're gonna quickly take it down after this. We're just here and dangling to use the assistance of gravity to help increase our range of motion by allowing the torso to go more in a forward bend. This helps allow for more flexibility in both the hamstrings and the spine. So just come to find stillness here and let gravity do the work. Gently begin to bend your knees. Bring your weight down onto your mat. You can set your blocks over to the side and go ahead and recruit your bolster. We're going to make our way into saddle pose. So bring your bolster right behind you at your tailbone. You're sitting both sit bones on the earth, and so your feet are at either side of your hips. I'm going to grab another block just for a little support underneath my sacrum, underneath my butt, because this is a very deep pose for me. So maybe you just stay here, seated. If you want to take it a little bit further, begin to walk your hands back. Maybe you stay just with a lean back, and we're on our hands. Maybe you take it to your elbows, or maybe you fully release your spine onto your bolster. Play around here. If you feel any tension in your lower back, just take it a step back. We don't want any pain. Just want to find that edge of discomfort. And if something hurts, never feel required to stay there. A saddle pose helps to begin to open deeply into the sacral lumbar arch, really helping stretching the hip flexors and the quadriceps. As I kind of mentioned, I have the tightest quads, so this pose is always pretty intense for me, but exactly the pose I should be doing more often. So I invite you to stay here, find that stillness, just breathe through that discomfort. What can we find in this discomfort? Beautiful. 4 minutes has passed. Let's begin to slowly press our body up. We're going to take it into the opposite way now. Very gently, just come up to sit for a moment. Send your bolster off to the side and go ahead and recruit your blocks here. We're going to make our way into melting heart. So come into a tabletop position. Stack your knees under your hips. My brain buffered here for a second, thinking we were going into praying mantis hands, but I'm just going to go into full melting heart. So go ahead and just set your props to the side and begin to walk your hands out in front of you. Allow your chest to melt towards the earth and your forehead or your chin comes to rest on the mat here. Melting heart is an amazing pose to bring better flexibility into the spine, which means less susceptibility to injury. So while you're here, feel that stretch in both sides of your side body and through your center back, allowing yourself to fully release and melt into this pose. You're going to slowly begin to walk your hands back in space and just make your way back up to a tabletop position. If you have a blanket or want to come long ways on your mat, I go ahead and suggest you do so. We're going to open up into frog pose. So begin to send your knees out to the side and maintain that line of energy from your knees to your hip points. Your feet are in line with your knees and your toes point out to the sides. Feet are flexed. And you sink your hips down in space as far as they go, where you can hold comfortably at that edge for about 4 minutes. And prop yourself up on your forearms here and allow your head to just angle. This pose can get really intense, and so it's also why I suggest having something underneath your knee points, because there's a lot of pressure on your knees right now going into the earth. So you want to make sure you feel supported so you can fully surrender. By spreading the legs wide and sinking the hips towards the ground, this pose helps release tension and tightness in the hip flexors, adductors, and the glutes. So stay here and breathe for the next 4 minutes. Slowly and mindfully begin to walk up onto your hands and slowly bring your knees back into space. We're going to bring our big toes to touch and send our hips back towards our heels. We're going to thread our right arm underneath our left arm. We're going to come into extended child's pose, little thread the needle action here. Beginning to continue to stretch into the sides and the back of the shoulders, helping to ease any pain and tension you may be experiencing there. Maybe you built up some tension while we were in frog pose. So just allow this pose to help you release and counteract that. Slowly unwind and we'll take it on to the other side. Thread your left arm underneath your right arm. We'll find that thread the needle now with the left arm underneath. It's gonna be super relaxing as the body loves twists for our nervous system, but also, again, helping aid in more flexibility and space in our body here. Gently begin to press your way up. Go ahead and grab your blocks. We're going to make our way into dragon pose now. Place your blocks at the top of your mat, a little bit over to the left side. We're going to step our right foot to the right corner of our mat. Our left leg goes long back behind us. You can stay up on your hands. Maybe take it down to your elbows. You choose what best serves you as we stay here for about 2 minutes. We're going to take it into a little dragon pose with holding the tail, aka your foot. So just begin to revel in this deep opening of your front hips, getting to release any tension in your lower back, and feeling the stretch in your thighs. You want to take it further. Now is the time to bend your left knee and reach your left hand behind you and find a lock around your foot. Maybe play around with the blocks, the height of them, bring the earth a little bit closer to you so you can find a place of stillness and that edge of discomfort without causing extra tension in your body. We'll stay here for the last minute of this pose. We'll gently release any bind we had of our foot. Allow our leg to rest behind us and send our right leg behind us now. Scoot your blocks over to the right side and now send your left foot to the left top corner of your mat. The right leg is long behind you. We find dragon pose now on the left side. Noticing any differences between the two sides. Maybe there's more openness, maybe we're a little bit more tight. Just without any judgment, seeing how you can change how you show up here. And if you'd like to take this into that tail variation, go ahead and do so now by just bending that right knee, reaching your right hand back behind you, playing with the heights of the blocks. I know I'm a little bit more tight on this side, so my block is at the highest height. You can stack your blocks, just finding whatever works for you, where you can stay for the next few moments. And gently release the bind from your foot and send your left leg back behind you. Go ahead and keep your blocks as we make our way onto our back for supported fish pose. So extend your legs long on your mat and then bring one block behind you so it's in line with your spine, and then the other block will be parallel to the top of the mat. So you roll back. You want that first block to rest in between your shoulder blades, and then your head will rest on that block behind you. Might need to play around with where that first block lands so there's no tension in your lower back, and your shoulders can just splay over the block and really open your chest here. Allow your lower body to relax. Begin to feel that deep stretch in the front of your body, especially in the throat, in your chest, abdomen, hip flexors, and intercostals, the muscles between your ribs. This helps to strengthen the upper back muscles and the back of the neck, which in turn will help with improving spinal flexibility and posture. Just allow yourself to rest here in probably one of my favorites, restorative and active poses, fish pose. Never so gently and as gracefully as you can, bend your knees in and just roll your body off of your blocks and just scoot your blocks off to the side so you can come to lay on your back as we find our final pose of class today, Shavasana. Feeling and noticing any differences in your body from maybe when you first started class, how your body has changed and developed, and acknowledging those changes and how maybe you want to continue to work to cultivate these changes and feelings in your body. This is where I will leave you today. As always, please feel free to stay as long as time allows or as long as you would like. Thank you so much for practicing with me again today. The light in me bows to the light in you. Thank you, and I'll see you tomorrow.